Warren Worthington has been holding back a truly evil persona inside of him. The Archangel, Dark Angel. What if the mental blocks break? The X-Force is a Black Ops group with the purpose of doing the deeds that the mainline X-Men team can't be seen doing. Recently, they killed the child that was to be Apocalypse, and then they fought against a Deathlock army from a potential future. And now, Wade Wilson, also known as Deadpool, is in an army base snooping around. He calls back to inform Wolverine that there's nothing here, and Wolverine tells him, "Keep looking, bub." Meanwhile, Deathlock, the original cyborg individual, has joined up with the X-Force, and is discussing the objects in Phantom X's museum with him, while Psylocke is helping strengthen the walls within Warren's mind. You see, a long time ago, Apocalypse came, and he turned Warren into one of his horsemen. The persona is known as Archangel or Dark Angel, is of pure evil, and is now locked within the mind of Warren. It's Psylocke that daily goes in and strengthens the hold on Archangel, because she fears that if she removes him, she'll do damage to Warren's mind. That's when Wolverine comes over and wakes her up from her trance. They have a mission before them. Deadpool stopped answering his comms, and Wolverine thinks that they need to go retrieve him. They break inside of the base and they hide in the outskirts of it, while Psylocke sends an astral projection of herself inside. She walks right into the main chambers where she sees the villain Maul. He's the one behind this. He was also expecting them. On the outskirts of the base, he grabs a hold of Deadpool using his mind control, and the various guards around them turn into Amal's thugs. Then as Phantom X turns to his friends for help, he sees that Amal's also taken hold of Angel and Wolverine. Idiots. Why am I the only one with a telepathic dampening field? Phantom X says as it begins to lift up Psylocke's body. Deadpool leaps in at him, and then Wolverine jumps over, cutting off Phantom X's arms. Except none of it happened. Phantom X misdirected them and made a break for it with Psylocke's body. Meanwhile, on the mental landscape, Psylocke and Amal are battling it out. Amal digs deeper into Psylocke's mind, pulling out the bad memories and the other thoughts that she doesn't want Amal to have. Realizing what he's done, she gets out of the mental landscape, kicking Wolverine in the head as he's about to kill her, and then she begins to run off because she knows what she has to do. She begins to sprint across the base looking for Warren. She finds him off on his own, and she hits him right away with sleep, dropping him. Then she enters his mind, but she finds Amal has already entered the memory in which he locked away Archangel. Amal walks into the room that is the cell for Archangel, and he lowers it. He'll use Archangel against her, but Archangel murders Amal's mental projection, greatly disrupting him. He then takes control of the body that is Warren, and he murders the guard next to them. Psylocke, Wolverine, Phantom X, and Deadpool all walk into the main room where they see Angel standing over the dead body. They all watch as he doesn't say a word before walking out of the base. A few short days later, Amal heads over to a well-known journalist to let him know that he has information on a certain X-Man and a certain Avenger who are both working for a Black Ops team murdering people. The journalist tells him that that would be a bad day to be a mutant, and Amal leaves behind footage of Wolverine and Angel murdering the guards on the military base. News of this travels up the newspaper's chain of command, and as it turns out, Warren Worthington owns that newspaper. So he gets the phone call, and then he informs the editor-in-chief that it is all slander, to kill the story before it's too late. He then walks over to the edge of Cavern X with Psylocke telling him that he's due for his session, and then he ignores her as he leaves. So Psylocke runs over to inform Wolverine of this potential problem. The editor is quickly discovered as missing, and the journalist seeing this realizes what that means for him, so he begins trying to upload the files so that everyone can see what he's discovered. But it's too late. Archangel is standing behind him, demanding to know where he got that information from. Wolverine comes crashing through a window and he begins to fight it out with Archangel, but Archangel throws Wolverine out the window and then he lets him fall to the street down below. He then chases the journalist up to the rooftop, and as he goes in for the kill, Psylocke hits him with a mental blade, knocking him unconscious. She then wipes the journalist's memories of everything, and they all head back to Cavern X, where they lock up Archangel in a cell. They all come up with a plan. They're gonna need to find a way to safely remove what Apocalypse did to Angel all those years ago. The plan begins with freeing Dark Beast. Now, he is an evil version of Beast from a future where Apocalypse won and conquered the world. It's known as the Age of Apocalypse. They bring Dark Beast back to Cavern X, where they tell him right away what's happening. Angel was turned into the heir of Apocalypse, and he is now preparing to move into his proper position. A death seed was planted within Warren that will lead Warren to using the power before him to wipe out all life on the planet and start it anew. He will lead this world to extinction. But since the Celestials are the ones that created the death seed, which can lead to the end of all, they also created a life seed. The only problem is that the life seed, which will free Warren from what's going on with him, won't be created on this earth for centuries. So they're going to need to go to the only place that he knows one exists, the Celestial Garden in the Age of Apocalypse, his home time. So the plan is set. they will travel to an alternate future where Apocalypse has already won. They'll get the Life Seed and return to free Warren from the hell that he's going through. X-Force and Dark Beast enter the portal and they arrive on a hellish landscape. Dark Beast then leads the way as they move towards one of his old labs. It is there that they find the Life Seed that he acquired long ago. But that's when Nightcrawler appears before them, wondering why Dark Beast would bother returning to this time period. And if it's for this particular item, then this item must be important. Dark Beast tases him, dropping him to the ground, and Logan walks over trying to explain the situation to Nightcrawler. But the moment that he sees Logan has his hand, he assumes that Logan is a clone, and BAM! He is gone. Psylocke tracks him out to the streets, and the group runs outside to find him, but that's the moment that Sabretooth jumps on Wolverine. The two arch enemies begin swiping and clawing at each other while Deadpool finds Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler exclaims that he is the one that killed Deadpool the first time, so he'll use the same plan, and he bams behind Deadpool, cutting off his head. Then, he didn't, because Deadpool's head and body vanished. It was another misdirection from Fantomex, and Fantomex and Deadpool now have the Life Seed and they're making a break for it. Psylocke stops Sabretooth and Wolverine while Nightcrawler catches up to Fanto and Deadpool, and in the fight, the Life Seed hits the ground. That is the moment that Sunfire needed to swoop in and grab it. Then, just like the others, he decides that if Dark Beast needs this, it's not good, and he flies up into the sky, throwing it far away from him and blasting it with his powers, destroying it once and for all. To make matters worse, while they were messing around in that fight, Dark Beast walked back to the portal, and then he used it to go back to their Earth, stranding them in the Age of Apocalypse. Once the X-Men of the Age of Apocalypse realize that there is more going on here than Dark Beast making a bunch of clones, they decide to play nice, and they bring these younger X-Men to their base to meet their leader, Jean Grey. This is a bit odd for Wolverine, as he is still in love with Jean, but in his timeline, she died. In this timeline, she married Logan, and then he died when Apocalypse took over. They are both confused by their feelings for each other because they aren't the versions of each other that they fell in love with. But as they finally give into it and lean in for a kiss, something arrives at the window behind them. A giant sentinel. He begins to walk through the glass wall and he begins to target Jean. So she channels all of the power that she has as she blasts the sentinel with the power of the Phoenix. Wolverine then asks if this happens a lot, and she tells him that this is the first, meaning that Apocalypse's forces know where the Resistance is now. So they discuss many plans, and they decide that the best course of action at this point would be to attack Apocalypse's forces first and get the other seeds. You see, Dark Beast was lying. There is more than one seed, and the other ones are inside of a defeated Celestial that is on planet Earth. The Resistance also found a mutant with the ability to jump people between dimensions, Gateway, and using him, they can get everyone home. So the plan is set. Attack the Celestial Garden, hopefully pushing them back for the Resistance, get a Life Seed, and go home saving Archangel. Seems simple enough. While they prepare for their mission, Fantomex decides that it's time to tell Psylocke what he sees in her and Warren's relationship, and he informs her that she doesn't love Warren. She loves being needed. She punches him across the jaw, telling him, "How dare you!" So he raises his mask and he kisses Psylocke passionately, only to be pushed away when she tells Fanto that she won't be giving up on Warren. With that, everyone loads back up into Fantomex's ship and they begin their assault. As they walk into the base, Wolverine suggests that Jean and her team come with them. Come back to their world. It's so much nicer than this place. There's no reason for them to stay here. This fight is lost. And that's when the Blob lands in front of them, and behind him is the Black Legion, Grim Chamber, White Cloak, Iron Ghost, Zombie Sentry, Blob, Orange Hulk, Demon Oct, and Beta Red. Nightcrawler turns to his comrades and he tells them to run! This crew is beyond them! Everyone runs down the hallways, choosing to find Gateway and hopefully just get everyone home, and they'll deal with Archangel then. But as they are assuming everything will be okay, that they've won, the Wolverine of this time blasts his own daughter, killing her, and tells everyone, "This is going to hurt." While everyone in the Age of Apocalypse thought that they had lost Wolverine, it turns out that he is the heir to Apocalypse, and the whole world right now is because of him. The X-Men and the Black Legion begin to battle it out with no other option. Heroes are being lost at every turn, beginning with Gambit sacrificing himself. But while this is going on, Logan begins swiping at his evil doppelganger with the mutant Gateway bound up behind them. Deadpool and Nightcrawler begin to jump into the battle against the evil Wolverine. An evil Wolverine grabs Deadpool by the throat, telling him, "You need to go home. There is nothing to be gained from killing you." And Deadpool responds with, "That's like crazy reasonable, but you just killed your own daughter, and she's kind of the daughter of our Wolverine, and he's kind of our boss." So the evil Wolverine throws Deadpool aside. "Fine, you weren't born of this world, but I will bury you here." Then Jean tells everyone to stop as she floats over to evil Wolverine. They were married, they were together, and he traded it all in for this fate. He invites Jean to join him. Once the culling is done, they can live happily ever after right here. She considers it for a second, she legitimately does, and then she bombards him with the power of the Phoenix. It doesn't even faze Dark Wolverine as he smacks her aside, and then he picks her up and flies off. He will force her to be his dark bride if he has to. But as he's preparing the ritual, Wolverine and the X-Force leap in on top of him now that they've accomplished all of their separate missions. And Deadpool says it best, "Hot Wolverine on Wolverine action!" With everyone swinging at evil Wolverine, he is slightly distracted, and Psylocke tries to patch into his mind, but he has defenses that he throws it back at her. Then, as our Wolverine goes in to rescue this version of Jean, Dark Wolverine cuts him in half with a laser beam. Then, everyone vanishes because it didn't happen! Phantom-X is at it again! Psylocke then realizes that Phantom-X is back, which means he must have all of those extra life seeds that they found inside of the Celestial. Use one of them on Dark Wolverine, she shouts at him, make him normal again! And Phanta holds up the seed with a sad face telling her, there's only one, Psylocke, and if we use it, we can't save Warren. So Jean tells the X-Force to take it and leave. Wolverine turns to her, there's no way I'm leaving you with this chump. He then turns to the X-Force, take that chump down! But even Phantom-X can see that Wolverine's judgment is clouded. Jean sees that he won't give up, so using her powers, while her resistance holds back the Dark Wolverine, she lifts up the X-Force. Wolverine tells her to stop. I won't let you do it. I won't abandon you again, Genie. You are going to abandon me, Logan, because I'm not your Genie. Then looking at Dark Wolverine, she tells him, I'm his. Goodbye. Save your world. And she sends them through Gateway's portal with the one life seed. Then they land right in front of the last person they wanted to see, Warren, with the Dark Angel persona in full control and his own army. Thank you for bringing me the life seed. Now, please, hand it over. This story is only just beginning. Now, this was Dark Angel Saga Part 1, and we'll be bringing you Dark Angel Saga Part 2 next week. I hope you guys are enjoying this Uncanny X-Force storyline. I really do love it myself. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian. I'll see you guys next time right here.